According to General Hospital previews for Friday, June 13th, Drew Kane will question whether Willow Tate is better off without him, while Jason Morgan assists in protecting Sonny Corinthos. On Friday's show, Brooke Lynn Quartermaine will inform Tracy Quartermaine that she has not forgotten about Lulu Spencer, who, in her opinion, still owes her money. Lulu, on the other hand, will defend herself before Maxie Jones, claiming that she done nothing wrong. Maxie will advocate for peace, but Lulu believes Brooke Lynn and Dante Falconeri are being harsh. Lulu feels unhappy that Giovanni Gio Palmieri discovered his true ancestry in the way he did, but she is not sorry that the true tale was revealed. At the police station, Harrison Chase will notice the lingering tension with Dante. Chase will wonder if they can work together or if there will be an issue. Chase's silence on Brooke Lynn's teen pregnancy and adoption will continue to cause problems for these PCPD partners. Can Dante forgive Chase, or at least put his resentment aside? Anna Devane will dwell on her past and perhaps question Dante about his Chase difficulties. Anna understands what it's like to hold secrets in stressful situations, so she may think Dante should give Chase a break. Drew will think about Nina Reeves' latest outburst and ponder if she's correct. Drew will contemplate whether Willow is better off without him. Of course, it's hard to suppose Drew will have an epiphany that transforms him back into a good guy. Drew may waver for a while, but it won't be long before he's blaming Michael Corinthos and reaffirming his dedication to Willow. Willow had to be hospitalized in the aftermath of her custody loss, so Drew may feel unwilling to abandon her now. Meanwhile, Marco Rios will be disturbed by Natalia Ramirez's legal situation. Marco will insist that Natalia tell him exactly what she has on Sonny. Natalia could face prison time if she doesn't aid ADA. Justine Turner tried to bring Sonny down, but she only warned him about the problem and is attempting to rebuild their connection. Marco may explain that Natalia must be concerned about her own freedom and pressure her to turn on Sonny while she still has the opportunity. There are some deception-related financial inconsistencies that could lead to serious issues for Sonny. On Friday's episode, Jason will plan with Sonny about how he may cut his losses to protect himself. Jason will do his best to help Sonny and keep him from facing legal ramifications, so stay tuned for updates on this vital encounter. Finally, General Hospital spoilers indicate that Tracy will put Alexis to the test in some way, so keep an eye out for any major developments. Time management is a key ability that affects all aspects of our life, from personal development to professional success. The ability to efficiently allocate, prioritize, and use time influences productivity, reduces stress, and improves overall quality of life. In today's fast-paced world, where distractions abound and expectations grow by the day, mastering time management is more important than ever. Individuals who do not manage their time well frequently become overloaded, miss deadlines, and struggle to maintain a work-life balance. Strong time management abilities, on the other hand, lead to increased efficiency, focus, and a sense of success. One of the most important reasons for time management is the direct influence it has on productivity. Individuals who plan their days, create defined goals, and assign specified time periods for tasks save wasted time while increasing performance. Procrastination, a typical productivity stumbling block, is frequently caused by ineffective time management. Individuals can overcome procrastination and make consistent progress toward their goals by breaking work down into smaller, more manageable portions and sticking to a scheduled timetable. Furthermore, good time management enables better decision-making because individuals can assess priorities and distribute resources accordingly. Another important advantage of time management is stress reduction. Many people feel anxious and stressed when they believe they have too much to do and too little time. This stress can result in burnout, low motivation, and even health problems. Individuals can prevent unneeded stress by organizing their duties, setting realistic deadlines, and avoiding last-minute rushes. Time management approaches like the Pomodoro technique, Eisenhower matrix, and time blocking can help people stay focused while maintaining a healthy work-life balance. When people feel in control of their schedules, they have more mental clarity and emotional well-being. Time management is an important factor in achieving professional success. Employers respect individuals who can meet deadlines, manage workloads efficiently, and contribute to corporate objectives without continual monitoring. Professionals that thrive at time management are frequently regarded as dependable, disciplined, and capable of managing duties well. Furthermore, efficient time management enables workers to explore professional development options such as further training, networking, or side projects, all of which can help them advance their careers. In leadership positions, the ability to assign work and manage team timetables is critical for ensuring smooth operations and meeting long-term corporate goals. On a personal level, time management allows people to pursue hobbies, spend quality time with loved ones, and practice self-care activities. Many people struggle to strike a balance between work, family, and personal interests, frequently prioritizing one over the other. Individuals can, however, construct a harmonious timetable that accommodates all parts of life by managing their time effectively. Setting boundaries between work and leisure time, using productivity tools, and learning to say no to unnecessary activities can all help you maintain homeostasis. Individuals who set aside time for relaxation and personal growth report higher levels of life satisfaction and happiness. Furthermore, time management promotes discipline and self-improvement. Developing the practice of creating and sticking to a timetable promotes self-control and accountability. Individuals who practice continuous time management gradually become more goal-oriented and proactive. They are better able to recognize time-wasting behaviors, such as excessive social media use or ineffective meetings, and replace them with more productive ones. Continuous self-evaluation and growth result in long-term success in both personal and professional activities. Technology has also had a huge impact on modern time management. Calendar apps, task organizers, and project management software have simplified task organization and tracking. However, while technology can improve productivity, it can also be a source of distraction if not handled responsibly. Setting screen time restrictions, turning off unnecessary notifications, and adopting productivity apps can all help people make better use of technology. Furthermore, traditional approaches such as to-do lists and handwritten calendars remain useful for people who want a more practical approach to time management. Despite the benefits, many people fail to execute good time management practices. Common issues include unreasonable expectations, poor priorities, and a lack of consistency. To overcome these challenges, people must first evaluate their present habits and find opportunities for change. Setting SMART goals can offer clarity and direction. Furthermore, learning to delegate duties and seek assistance when necessary can help to reduce burnout and increase productivity. Finally, time management is an important skill that increases productivity, decreases stress, and improves overall success. Whether in personal or professional settings, excellent time management leads to increased productivity, enhanced well-being, and long-term success. Individuals can get control of their time and reach their full potential by using tried-and-true strategies, judicious use of technology, and discipline. The route to mastering time management involves dedication and ongoing development, but the benefits, increased productivity, less stress, and a more balanced life, are well worth it. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Professor Hank Dalton is working on something significant. It might also be perilous, as both the WSB and Anna Devane are keeping an eye on him. Jocelyn Jacks has been instructed by the WSB to be close to Dalton and appear as his research assistant. Emma Scorpio Drake may know the truth about Dalton because she had a past with him at Berkeley and returned to Port Charles to bring him down. Gio Palmieri is already tired of dealing with his newfound family and is eager to leave Port Charles. He tried recently but was unsuccessful. As Emma gets too near to the truth about Dalton, they may have to leave Port Charles. Emma Scorpio Drake discovers what Hank Dalton is really doing. Emma could learn what Dalton is up to. Dalton is working on something significant, and he is affiliated with Jen Sidwell. Dalton may have produced something innovative that Sidwell is interested in, as well as something that the WSB would like to get their hands on. Knowing this information could endanger her, and Dalton may pursue her if she discovers the truth. Emma would have to go into hiding immediately. Emma Scorpio Drake tells Gio Palmieri that she is in danger and must leave. Gio would run meet Emma, who was leaving Port Charles. Gio would be astonished, and Emma would explain that she was in danger. Emma would tell him that she will explain everything to him later, but she knows too much and must go into hiding. Gio offered to go with her and protect her. So they packed their belongings and flee Port Charles as quickly as possible. Anna Devane discovers that Emma Scorpio Drake knows too much. Emma and Gio would be on the run after fleeing Port Charles, and the WSB could be tracking them down. Anna Devane, Emma's grandmother and the police commissioner, may learn that Emma came onto information she shouldn't have and confront Jack Brennan. Brennan would tell her that Emma fled before they could offer her shelter from Dalton. Brennan would notify Anna that the information concerning Dalton is confidential, and that she cannot provide it to her. But she can assist them in finding Emma so that she may be protected. Anna would collaborate with the WSB to locate her granddaughter and Gio, and protect them from the likes of Dalton. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Will Emma come too close to discovering what Dalton is up to? Will she and Gio flee, fearing Emma is in danger? Will Anna team up with the WSB to discover Emma and Gio? Keep watching General Hospital, which airs on ABC weekdays, to find out what happens next. Emma has always been curious, perhaps too curious. Her obsessive desire to know the truth had led her to examine Dalton in the first place. Initially, he appeared to be just another affluent businessman, pleasant and polished, with a philanthropic reputation. But the deeper she investigated, the more fractures appeared in his flawless facade. Unexplained disappearances, questionable transactions, whispers of underworld connections, all pointed to something far darker than his carefully cultivated public image. She had not intended to unearth anything dangerous. It began as a simple background investigation to satisfy her own nagging suspicions following a string of coincidences. But one clue led to another, and she soon realized she was in over her head. The encrypted files, the coded signals, and the dark figures watching her from a distance. It all felt too real. Then there came the night she chanced upon the meeting. Emma had followed Dalton to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city, her heart pounding in her throat as she crouched behind a stack of boxes, her phone recording everything. The voices were quiet, but the phrases were clear: arms transactions, payoffs, and something about cleaning up loose ends. Hearing her own name made her blood run cold. She barely got out of there unobserved, her hands trembling as she dialed the only person she trusted, Gio. He had already warned her to drop it and let Dalton be. But, hearing the dread in her voice, he did not hesitate. Pack a bag. Now. We are leaving. They'd been on the run ever since. They took every precaution possible, including using fake names, burner phones, and cash-only transactions. However, Dalton's reach was extensive, and his followers were everywhere. They were killed after one bad move. The safe house was tiny and damp, with flimsy walls through which you could hear the neighbors squabbling. Emma perched on the edge of the mattress, staring at the laptop screen, the light creating harsh shadows on her face. She had copied the files and hidden backups in places that Gio was unaware of. It was their only leverage, proof of Dalton's misdeeds. But was that enough? Gio paced the room with his jaw gritted. We cannot stay here indefinitely. They will find us eventually. Emma knew he was correct. But where might they go? Dalton had cops on his payroll and contacts at all borders. They were stranded, torn between the danger behind them and the unknown ahead. A quick knock on the door froze them both. It's too loud. Too deliberate. Emma's breath seized in her chest as Gio indicated for stillness, his hand hanging near the revolver concealed in his waistband. The diagnosis was not immediate, but the concern was genuine. Something was wrong, possibly terrible, and no one knew how long Jocelyn had been ignoring her symptoms. Carly was contacted next, and her reaction was purely maternal. She went to the hospital, seeking answers and barely holding it together as she witnessed her daughter's vulnerability. However, underlying the fear came guilt. Carly had been so preoccupied with Sunny's unraveling, and the Jason fallout that she hadn't realized how much pressure Jocelyn was under on her own. As the testing progressed and Jocelyn remained unconscious, old wounds reopened. Carly and Dex had a brief dispute, with each blaming themselves in different ways. Michael arrived later, his own world collapsing, and seeing his sister in this way almost broke him. He sat by her bedside, squeezing her hand and apologizing for not being present when she needed him the most. Despite the turmoil, not everyone was alarmed. Sunny, still mired in his own quagmire of mistrust and paranoia, was noticeably absent. Word was sent to him, but he did not respond. And for those in the hospital, the quiet spoke more than any visit. Meanwhile, Jason continued excavating. He had a name now. A DOJ leak traced back to Valentine via a proxy firm involved in both the ELQ probe and the hospital funding board. Drew's legal issues, Willow's project shutdown, and potentially the growing friction inside GH were all linked. Someone was pulling strings in the background, and their goal was to gradually erode the Quartermaine family's foundation. Jason made a choice that night. He would confront Valentine. Not as a friend, not as a previous ally, but as someone who saw how far corruption might spread if no one stopped it. Before the week finished, Jason would push Valentine to answer for what he knew, or face the consequences. Drew tried to protect Willow from further suffering, but she wouldn't have it. She preferred to stand with him rather than be protected from the storm. Their late-night chat at the Quartermaine estate was raw, honest, and full of deep dread. They both understood things may become worse before they got better. Months of family betrayal had strained their trust, yet it still held, albeit just barely. Willow revealed something she hadn't before. She was terrified. Not only for Drew, but for the future they were attempting to establish. Every time they tried to breathe, another fire started. And this time it was more than just survival. It was about whether they could continue battling without losing themselves in the process. General Hospital spoilers indicate that Jocelyn Jacks may discover Britt Westbourne alive. Will this resurgence coincide with Professor Henry Hank Dalton's research? Britt rescued Jocelyn's life the night she was stung by Heather Weber's deadly hook. Although Britt eventually paid a deadly price, she died a hero. Now that we know Kelly Thibault is returning to ABC's General Hospital, Britt might conceivably resurrect from the dead. There's a chance Thibault will play another character instead, but we must contemplate the prospect of Britt resurrecting. That takes us to a clue that Daniel Goddard shared on social media in April. Goddard noted that Professor Dalton was mentored by Sir John Gordon, a developmental biologist and Nobel Prize laureate, known as the godfather of cloning. Gordon's study on cloning and nuclear transplantation was groundbreaking, so what if Professor Dalton is also conducting cloning research? It's understandable that Professor Dalton would want to continue expanding on the work of his idol. The WSB knows a lot about Professor Dalton's nefarious dealings, but they don't know everything. If they did, they would not need Jocelyn Jacks to trick Professor Dalton and probe around. Since Britt previously came to Jocelyn's aid, perhaps Joss might repay the favor now. What if Jocelyn is the one to discover Britt is alive, and possibly being held hostage as a lab rat somewhere? Perhaps Britt's death was staged using a clone or something similar. The real Britt may have survived and may require Jocelyn's assistance, if this has escalated into a captive scenario. Britt's Huntington's disease diagnosis might easily be rewritten so that she was misdiagnosed or misled about the nature of her illness. If they're sticking with the lab rat concept, Britt could have had some amazing experimental cure. Naturally, we should consider the possibility that the original Britt is no longer alive and Jocelyn has found a Britt clone. Regardless, there must be a reason why Professor Dalton has a cloning relationship with the mentor picked by the show. Will Jocelyn finally make a surprising revelation related to the clone story? According to General Hospital teasers, Kelly Thibault will return in some form or another, so we'll keep you updated on any other interesting developments regarding her comeback. The universe of General Hospital has never shied away from unexpected twists, but the probable resurrection of Dr. Britt Westbourne would send shockwaves through Port Charles. Rumors of a possible return have circulated for months, but the most recent spoilers imply something much more explosive. Jocelyn Jacks may discover Britt alive, and her astonishing survival might be linked to the sinister legacy of Dr. Cameron Dalton's cloning research. If accurate, this narrative would not only bring back a fan-favorite character, but it would also immerse Port Charles in a sci-fi mystery that blurs the lines between life, death, and medical ethics. Britt Westbourne's passing was painful for fans. After a lengthy fight with Huntington's disease, she died surrounded by loved ones, leaving a legacy of atonement, love, and unfinished business. Her relationship with Jason Morgan, her complicated relationship with her mother Liesl Albrecht, and her surprise friendship with Jocelyn make her one of the show's most complex characters. Bringing her back from the dead would be a dangerous move, but if executed correctly, it might transform the landscape of General Hospital in exciting ways. The key to this probable comeback is Dr. Cameron Dalton, a malevolent character whose studies in human cloning have already caused havoc. Dalton's art was last seen in the twisted tale of the late Dr. Liesl Albrecht's secret lab, where the lines between science and horror blurred. If Britt is alive, was she ever truly dead? Or was her death a clever trick, with Dalton's technology allowing her to be covertly kept, copied, or even resurrected by experimental means. The ramifications are startling. Could there be several Brits? Was her disease cured? Or was her fate influenced by powers she couldn't understand? Jocelyn Jacks, a young woman creating her own way, would be an ideal candidate to solve this mystery. Jocelyn, the daughter of Carly and the late Sonny Corinthos, has always had a flair for trouble. Her emotional connection to Britt would be strong, especially if she discovered her alive. Imagine Jocelyn discovering a hidden facility or receiving a cryptic message that leads her to a woman who looks just like the late doctor. The astonishment, incredulity, and torrent of inquiries are exactly the type of high-stakes drama that General Hospital thrives on. But why is Britt being kept hidden? If she is still alive, who is pulling the strings? The most persuasive answer comes in her unfinished business from the past. Britt was strongly involved with various influential characters, including her mother Liesl, former lover Jason, and even foes like Peter August. If she was surreptitiously kept or cloned, was it with her knowledge? Her connections? Was it part of a bigger, scarier experiment? Britt's homecoming could potentially revive old rivalries, particularly with Nina Reeves, who has a difficult relationship with the Westbournes. Then there's the moral quandary. What does Britt's survival through cloning or genetic manipulation signify for the other characters? Would Jason Morgan, who mourned her, have to doubt everything he knew? Would Liesl Obrecht, who had wept for her daughter, be overjoyed or horrified to learn the truth? What about the legal and ethical ramifications? If Dalton's research is still ongoing, who else might be brought back? The possibilities are limitless, ranging from Drew Kane's mysterious past to the probable return of other, deceased people. A storyline like this would also allow General Hospital to dig into more complex issues, such as technology versus humanity, the ethics of playing God, and the cost of defying death. It's a narrative goldmine combining soap opera drama and sci-fi intrigue. And with Jocelyn in the center, the emotional stakes would be quite high. Would she keep Britt's survival a secret? Or would she tell the truth and risk causing chaos? One thing is certain. If Britt Westbourne is genuinely alive, life in Port Charles will never be the same. The walls of General Hospital have seen innumerable miracles and tragedies over the years, but nothing could have prepared Port Charles for the seismic shockwaves that would occur if Jocelyn Jacks discovered Dr. Britt Westbourne alive and well. The mere prospect of Britt's resurrection sends shivers down the spines of every GH fan, not just because of what it implies for the character herself, but also because of the Pandora's box of information it could reveal about Dr. Cameron Dalton's diabolical cloning operations. This isn't just about resurrecting a beloved figure. It's about revealing a web of scientific manipulation that has the potential to change all we know about life, death, and medical ethics in Port Charles. Britt Westbourne's death from Huntington's disease had an emotional impact on the entire town. Her death was more than just the loss of a brilliant physician. It also marked the terrible conclusion of one of GH's most dramatic redemption stories. Britt's path from cunning villain to compassionate healer and loving friend was nothing short of miraculous. Her relationships, the complicated tie with her mother, Liesl Obrecht, the unexpected friendship with Jocelyn, and the star-crossed romance with Jason Morgan, were all cut short by her tragic death. Or were they? The intriguing idea that Britt's death was staged, or that science has discovered a means to undo it, creates story possibilities that are too combustible to ignore. The key to unraveling this mystery is Dr. Cameron Dalton's dark legacy, whose unethical cloning experiments have already left an everlasting effect on Port Charles. Dalton's research is the most perilous convergence of cutting-edge science and moral uncertainty that GH has ever investigated. If Britt is still alive, the ramifications are startling. Was her death staged to protect her from a greater threat? Was her consciousness saved by experimental technology? Or, most terrifyingly, is the Britt that Jocelyn may discover a clone, a perfect genetic counterpart with all of Britt's memories but none of her original body's fatal disease? These questions influence more than just Britt's plot. They threaten to upend the entire foundation of medical ethics in the General Hospital universe. Jocelyn Jacks is at the right intersection to discover this earth-shattering secret. Jocelyn, now a young woman pursuing her own way, inherited her mother Carly's insatiable curiosity, as well as her father Sonny's danger instinct. Her personal connection to Britt lends emotional depth to what may be a life-changing discovery. Consider the following scenario. Jocelyn discovers a hidden medical facility while investigating an unrelated mystery. The pristine white walls hum with odd apparatus, and Britt is lying in a confinement chamber or recovery room, alive and breathing but plainly not free. The shock of recognition, the flood of questions, the urgent need to comprehend how this is possible. This is the type of high-stakes, character-driven drama that excels at more than any other soap. The circumstances surrounding Britt's prospective homecoming generate a slew of intriguing concerns about who could be behind it and why. If this is related to Dalton's research, the mastermind might be anyone, from a renegade scientist carrying on his work to one of Britt's loved ones desperate to save her. Liesel Albrecht, with her history of covert medical experiments, would be a strong suspect in any attempt to resuscitate her daughter. With his extensive understanding of rare diseases, the morally ambiguous Dr. Hamilton Finn may have ulterior motivations. Even Jason Morgan, who had such a strong bond with Britt, could have been part in a hidden scheme to save her life using unusual measures. The ethical quandaries raised by Britt's homecoming would spark fascinating debates throughout Port Charles. If she was cloned, does the new Britt have the same rights as the original? Is she still the same person if her consciousness has been transferred? These philosophical problems would compel characters like Elizabeth Weber, Monica Quartermain, and Terry Randolph to confront their most fundamental views about what makes life an identity. The legal repercussions alone may provide months of captivating drama. Would this revived Britt be entitled to her former property, medical license, and relationships? Or will she be viewed as a scientific abnormality, a threat to be contained? For Jocelyn, seeing Britt alive would be a watershed moment in her young adulthood. The emotional shock of seeing someone she mourned suddenly breathing again would test her in ways she had never experienced. Will she keep Britt's survival a secret while she investigates, possibly putting herself in danger? Or would she promptly contact authorities, risking Britt's disappearance again? Her connections with everyone, including her mother Carly and best friend Trina, would be put to the test as she grappled with this unthinkable revelation. Britt's homecoming would have far-reaching consequences for everyone in Port Charles. Nina Reeves, whose tangled relationship with the Westbournes has included both friction and unexpected affinity, would have to fundamentally rethink her perspective of the past. Valentine Cassadine, with his family's history of manipulating life and death, may view Britt's resurrection as either a threat or an opportunity. Even characters like Drew Kane, whose background involves memory manipulation and identity uncertainty, would find disturbing parallels in Britt's circumstances. Perhaps most intriguing is how Britt would manage her second opportunity at life. The psychological impact of realizing you were cloned, that your death was faked, or that you've been surreptitiously preserved for years would be catastrophic. Would she grapple with existential concerns about her own identity? Would she be furious with those who controlled her fate? Or would she grasp this opportunity to make amends and reclaim the relationships she had lost? The character's trademark humor and resilience would make her return to the land of the living a must-see television event. From a storyline standpoint, Britt's reappearance via cloning or other experimental ways allows GH to address current issues concerning scientific innovation and its implications. This tale would strike a deep chord with modern audiences, given that real-world developments in biotechnology and artificial intelligence are creating similar ethical concerns. The show may draw fascinating similarities between Britt's situation and current arguments over gene editing, life extension technology, and the basic notion of human awareness. The safe house was cramped and damp, the walls thin enough to hear the neighbors arguing through them. Emma sat on the edge of the mattress, staring at the laptop screen, the glow casting harsh shadows across her face. She had copied the files, hidden backups in places even Geo didn't know about. It was their only leverage, proof of Dalton's crimes. But was it enough?